This is what used to be my daily driver vehicle. At the moment, it's more of an outdoor storage shed for scrap wood and occasional beer drinking spot, but it can't stay that way forever. This house is a rental and I need to do something with this big hunk of metal. Now, I've got big plans for this car. It's not going to the scrapyard, at least not the part I'm going to be using. There's about 2,000 pounds of other junk I got to get rid of. I've already got it stripped down to pretty much just a metal box. The engine's gone, gas tank, suspension, everything underneath, the dashboard, steering column. But the last part I have to remove, which is going to be the most fun, is the entire back half of the cab. Along with it will also go the firewall and the floor. Basically, all this metal highlighted in orange is going, all the green stuff is staying. Two-door truck cab, that's the idea. I gotta give a little backstory for this project. This 2007 Hyundai Tucson was my first car, and I always kinda wished I'd bought a truck instead. I thought I was making a smart choice, buying a more normal car that would be more reliable, but this thing just did not stop breaking down on me. I'd never done any automotive work before, but every time something broke, I would figure out how to fix it, and before long I was pretty attached to the Tucson. I gave it my own paint job, a crappy one, made a ridiculous analog custom dashboard with all the buttons and dials, took out the rear seats, laid down some pallet wood, and started to turn the thing into the pickup truck I always wished it was. I was pretty fixated on the idea of just stubbornly keeping this thing forever and eventually physically chopping it into a pickup truck, but since it doesn't actually have a truck frame, that would require some dubious structural reinforcements, and I knew the engine and transmission were both on their way out. In short, nothing about this car is the truck that I want it to be, but I'm sentimentally attached to the idea of making it that, no matter how irrational it might be. That leads us to today. The engine finally went kaput, and now I have the carcass of the Tucson in my lawn, waiting to be truckified. In my mind, the best way to keep the Tucson going is in spirit. Instead of swapping in a new engine, chopping the top off, improving the structure, I'm gonna just keep the part that I do like, which is the cab, and put it on a whole new chassis that's gonna be better to work off of. Is it still really the same car after all that? I don't know, but it's what I'm doing. Now, because of the way I'm planning out this cab swap, I'm removing a lot of material. To keep the B-pillars on the Tucson straight as I cut out the floor, I'm gonna add some temporary bracing. This will get knocked out and replaced with something more robust in the future when the cab is in place on the new chassis. At this point, it is easier to visualize how daunting this is going to be, but the good part is, if I back out, all this has to go to the junkyard anyway, so chopping it into bits helps, I guess. So I got nothing to lose. For today, my plan is to just cut off the parts that I know for sure I'm not going to use. I can clean up my cut lines later. For now, I just want to get a bulk of the material off. I decided to get the floor, firewall, and parts of the old engine bay out of the way first. Those are getting removed because it'll be a lot easier to just reuse the floor and dashboard out of the donor car rather than cutting new holes for the gas pedals, steering column, shifters on this one. There it goes. It's done. This was a weird moment for me. The first major structural part removed from the cab. Yes. I've been making these plans for quite a while, but actually finally starting to do it. It's a bit surreal. I probably said the same thing when I pulled the engine out, but at this point there really is no going back. But that's my favorite way to do things, just dive in without really knowing what I'm doing and have fun along the way.
Dude, as a kid, I would have loved to play in this thing. Like, I once sat where Sam was at when we drove all the way to Chicago. Now I'm standing in this car. We've taken this car everywhere, and in each iteration it was just as fucked up. But this might be the PhD for sure.
With the floor and firewall out of the way, now comes the fun part, cutting the car in half. This is one of those things that I've just talked so much about over the last few years that I don't know if anybody thought I was actually going to do it. Now, I'm under no delusions that most of the hard work is behind me. I know I'm definitely far less than halfway done with this whole project. If I see this thing through all the way, I still have to basically cut another car in half before I even start welding. But no matter how daunting the whole cab swap custom truck thing might be, I'm committed to continuing regardless, making progress where I can. Mostly just to prove to myself that if I'm dreaming big about something and really want to do it, I'm gonna try. Give it at least my best shot.
Hell yeah!
Split.
Street.
Oh!
Yeah!
Bro.
Now you have 2 cars.
I got 2 cars now. I know I'm getting all sentimental about chopping some scrap metal apart, but the ideas that I'm playing out here predate me ever doing anything productive with any power tools before any video on this channel. It's about acting on a dream that I had as a broke kid who didn't know how to make much of anything. Making sure that the machine that in a lot of ways got me into the tinkering that I do now can live on in some way. Last thing I did for the day was threw on a new rough coat of primer. It'll get a proper paint job at some point, but this was just to make sure it didn't rust away during the winter, covering any bare metal. And that is where the project sits for now. I would love to have more done on this thing, but I'm working on limited budget and no garage, just out here in my backyard. But this is a big step, kind of surreal to see the thing actually chopped in half. Even if I were to hit a major roadblock and have to scrap the whole thing, I'm happy with how far I've been able to come so far. I've been dreaming of doing this since I was like 21 years old when I bought this car. I've been sketching versions of it as a pickup truck for years. I know this whole project might seem a little bonkers, but around here in the Midwest, man, there's a ton of people that are doing exactly this kind of thing, just not pointing cameras at themselves while they do it. Usually it's with like a nice classic car, not a 2007 Hyundai. This is probably how the thing is gonna sit for the rest of the winter. Not a ton of work I can do on it while it's out here covered in snow, but next steps will be to get rid of this whole back half, chop it up, haul it off somewhere, clean up all the cuts, the rough cuts, and then get to work matching it up on whatever donor chassis it's going on. That's probably the 4Runner, unless I have some major change of heart about that. She'll be a 4-wheel drive, body on frame, maybe more of an off-roader truck than a hauling truck, but that's what I want. I'm excited. I'm like half making these videos just as an archive piece for myself to like see the progress. It'll be great to look back on all this struggle here in the early days once the whole thing is done. This is the kind of thing I'll just keep working on in the background between other videos, and you'll maybe see something every couple months on it. Hopefully I get a lot done this spring and summer. I better, because I'm probably moving out of this house in 2026, and I don't know how I would move this thing. That's all. I should have one more video coming out this year. 2025's been a great year. I feel like I'm finally on an upswing with all my stuff instead of just trying to keep it afloat, but I'm even more excited for what's to come in 26. I hope y'all are having a lovely holiday season. Drive safe out there, and thank you for your time. It's so light now. Just getting my workout in, lifting a car.